All right, everybody. Welcome again to the Department of Toxic Substances Control's Environmental Justice Advisory Council meeting. Seeing that we now have a quorum, we'll get the meeting started. As a reminder, this meeting is being recorded, and today we will have interpretation provided by Ryan and Claudia.
Hola a todos, bienvenidos a la reunión del Departamento de Control de Sustancias. Esta reunión está siendo grabada y vamos a tener interpretación por Ryan y Claudia. Si ustedes quieren acceder a la interpretación en su dispositivo, tiene que seleccionar el globo que está en la parte inferior de su pantalla y hacer clic en el idioma de su preferencia. Puede seleccionar español. Si usted está utilizando celular o tablet, en lugar de ver el globo, va a ver tres puntitos a la derecha. Va a seleccionar donde dice Language Interpretation y español. Muchas gracias.
All right, Greg.
Hi, my name is Greg Hodge. I'm serving as your facilitator today. As we begin today's meeting, I want to share a few housekeeping items related to Zoom participation, interpretation, and public comment period. And we're going to ask our interpreter to please interpret.
Hola a todos, les está hablando Greg Hodge, facilitador, y les vamos a compartir alguna información respecto a Zoom, cómo utilizarlo para utilizarlo durante la reunión del día de hoy. Muchas gracias.
Cool. As mentioned previously, we will have translation today provided by Ryan and Claudia. Please note the interpretation globe. Please click it and select your language. All participants need to select the language, either English or Spanish, to be able to hear the translations. For both tablet and phone users, you can click the More button to find the interpretation option. At the top of your screen, you can click the Spanish translation tab to view the presentation in Spanish. Please interpret.
Como se mencionó anteriormente, vamos a tener interpretación a español por parte de Ryan y Claudia. Para acceder a la interpretación, todos los participantes tienen que seleccionar el idioma, ya sea inglés o español, para poder escuchar la traducción. Para quienes están utilizando tablet o celular, pueden hacer clic en el botón de interpretación, haciendo clic en los tres puntos que se encuentran a la derecha en la parte de arriba de su pantalla. Pueden hacer clic en donde dice español. Para ver la presentación en español, también.
All right. Next, we want to make sure that we assign interpreters in Zoom. And I'm going to ask that Samantha, you make that happen.
They have been assigned. Thank you, Greg.
All right, great. We will be hearing public comments today on agenda item 7. We will call for virtual public comments by asking participants to raise their virtual hands. We ask that all Zoom participants remain muted until they are called on to speak. For virtual participants on a computer, you can find the raise hand feature under React. For phone and tablet virtual participants, you will find this feature under More. For phone participants, you can raise or lower your hand by pressing *9. Once you have been called on, please unmute yourself to provide public comment. For phone participants, you can mute and unmute yourself by pressing *6. We appreciate all participants staying on mute until it is your turn to speak. Please share your name and any affiliation before giving your public comment. Also, the chat feature will be turned on during the public comment period. We ask that EJAC members and DTSC staff wait to respond to public commenters if desired until all speakers are heard to ensure commenters have enough time to speak. We also ask that EJAC members stay muted when not speaking and raise their virtual hands if possible. We can go to the next slide. I'm going to talk about technical support. Technical support will be provided today by Vivian Hune. If you need any additional assistance, we have help available at 916-869-5046 or email vivian.hune@dtsc.ca.gov. In addition, the meeting materials can be found at the website that you see listed there. This meeting will be recorded today. and the meeting recording and other meeting items such as minutes can be found at the previously mentioned website following the meeting. Next slide, please. All right. We want to do a roll call of our EJAC members. We ask that all EJAC members state their name and pronouns when called. Also, if you wish, please share how you're feeling coming into this meeting today. So first in order is Miguel Alatorre.
Miguel Alatorre, present, he, him pronouns, and I'm feeling caffeinated.
Kevin Hamilton. Kevin has not joined us yet, I don't think. Karen Lincoln. Karen has not joined us yet. Nam Nguyen.
Yeah, Nam Nguyen here, he/him, and I'm feeling pretty excited.
Good to see you. Magali Sanchez Hall.
Good afternoon, Magali Sanchez Hall, ella, she, her, and bless.
And Mrs. Levon Stone.
Evangelist Levon Stone. I'm glad to be here and hope we can get a lot done.
All right, thank you. We're all here except for Kevin and Karen, and I think Karen is joining us shortly. Next slide, if you would. All right, now I'd like to review the meeting agenda and the meeting agreements. Times are approximate and subject to change. Agenda items might be taken out of order to accommodate speakers and to maintain a quorum. Our agenda today is a welcome, which we just did, approving the December meeting minutes, membership updates, report out from work plan subcommittee, discussion of that work plan, report out from Equity and Wellness Institute, public comment, next steps, and adjournment. Please go to the next slide. Next slide should be the meeting agreements. If you go one more slide, maybe you'll hit that. All right. Well, the meeting agreements, that slide may not be here, but they're pretty simple. Be fully present, and that means try to avoid multitasking while you're on this call. Be uninhibited, being able to speak your mind freely. Be mindful of time. Disagreement is okay, and focus on interests and not positions. Let's go to the next slide. All right. So the council members, you all have received the meeting minutes as members of the public have it prior to this conversation. Are there any corrections to the December meeting minutes?
Not on my end.
Okay.
Not on my end.
All right. Thank you.
Do we move to approve the minutes?
Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
Yeah, motion to approve minutes.
I'll second.
Okay. Who moved it? Was it Nam?
Yeah.
Nam.
And then second by Miguel.
Correct.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? So minutes for December have been approved. What we'd like to do now is to hear a membership update from our co-chair, Miguel, and I don't think Karen has joined us quite yet, but I think, Miguel, you're going to handle that piece. So
Oh yeah,
please
no
go
worries.
ahead.
So I did want to extend apologies as co-chair Lincoln let me know that they would not be able to attend this meeting, so I'll be taking it from here. And we do have some news also our member George Galvis has resigned due to time constraints, and so his departure has left one EJAC vacancy on our council. Please stay tuned as we work together with DTSC to announce the application process to become an advisory council member, and that'll be coming very soon. Now on to Shirlene.
I am trying to do my buttons. Everybody, um, like Miguel, I'm feeling a little caffeinated, but maybe not working as well. Yes, I just wanted to take a moment to introduce to many of you, some of you have met her, the new Assistant Deputy Director for OEE. This person, Jessica Ampa, will be serving as a second, if you will, to me. If I'm not available, Jessica will be stepping in and in so many capacities. And so we're just really pleased and excited to welcome her to the Office of Environmental Equity. She has over 12 years of state service, most recently as a section chief with the Emergency Food Program in the Department of Social Services. And she worked on such programs as outreach with CalFresh programs and some of the emergency food programs that address food insecurity. She's worked at equity-minded programs and demonstrated this with her work in vulnerable communities and tribal communities. She is a graduate from San Diego State University with a Bachelor's of Arts in Journalism and an emphasis on public relations and a minor in public administration. And now that I've told you all about her, Jessica, why don't you say something, introduce yourself to the room.
Thanks, Erlene. Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. My first public EJAC meeting. I look forward to working with the council members and engaging with the public throughout this process. I won't say any more about my experience. I think Erlene spoke to plenty of that, but just really excited to be here and work in this capacity and kind of help support Erlene, like she said, when she's not able to make it. So thank you, Erlene.
Thank you. Thank you, Miguel and Greg.
Cool, thank you. Let's go to the next slide. Maybe we're already there. This is actually go back one. We want to hear from our member Magali Sanchez Hall reporting on the work plan subcommittee. So Magali?
Yes, hi,
Actually,
everyone.
I'm so sorry, Magali. Actually, before that, I'm going to share from the Equity and Wellness Institute to help set up Magali's share out. So if it's okay, Magali, if that's
Yeah.
still okay with you, it'll kind of help set up what you're sharing.
Oh, that is fine. Go ahead.
Wonderful. Okay. So good evening, everyone. My name is Danielle Hawthorne. I'm the Director of Strategic Initiatives from the Equity and Wellness Institute, and I'm excited to be with you this evening to share a little bit about the work that our firm has been doing and engaged in over the last few months with the Environmental Justice Advisory Council. So you got to hear a little bit about the work we were doing the last time we were together, and I'm here to share about what we have been doing and how we have been supporting the council since we were last together. And what we've been doing is we have really been building on the council's priorities and expertise. We have been meeting with council members over the last few months to really learn more about their background, their experiences with environmental justice, and the goals that they have for the communities that they are serving and representing here on this council. Additionally, those conversations have really been insightful. They've helped us to understand how our firm here at EQUI, as we so lovingly like to call ourselves, and the DTSC staff can support the council's success and the initiatives that they desire to work on during their term here. In addition to building on those priorities and expertise, we've worked extensively with the work plan subcommittee to help them develop or to create and develop their work plan and path how they desire to move forward. So over the last few months, we've met with them as they have kind of brainstormed and put together a list of initiatives that they desire to work on, and then worked with them to whittle that down to what you'll hear from Magali here in just a little bit, which is the priorities that outline the plan and the path forward. We facilitated 2 work plan subcommittees with them to help them shape the future of the council's work. And together, the council identified 3 key priorities, each with specific action steps that outline the path and plan of their work moving forward. And at this moment, as you hear about these work plans, what lies ahead for us is to help and support the council as they plan action steps and a path forward with objectives and timelines for how they want to accomplish and meet the goals of the priorities that they've decided upon and approved. And so our firm will be working alongside them to support and help them accomplish those goals. The full council approved these priorities back in January, and the next steps, as I mentioned, will include creating more detail for operationalizing the plan. We've been excited and honored to work alongside the council, and we look forward to continuing our work with them in the future. And I think the one thing that I'll note is that as the council has created these priorities, among the list of priorities that they wanted to work on, one of the things that they wanted to note was that while this was the list of priorities that they decided on, they wanted to make it clear that at any point, if things shift and change, that they wanted to be able to, interchange the work that they're doing at any given moment to meet the demands of just the shift and changes in the world around us. And so wanted to just note that as well as part of the work that we're doing with them and alongside them. So thank you. And again, it's been an honor to work alongside the council in this work.
Excellent. Magali?
Yes, hi. I would like to allow for Co-Chair Miguel Alatorre to speak. Go ahead, Miguel.
Yeah, so on some of the priorities, if we could go back to that slide, as I don't have that slide in my notes, but out of the many priorities that the EJAC identified, we narrowed it down to these 3 priorities for our work plan, as we felt that these would best serve some of the needs within our communities and some of the ability of what the EJAC has in terms of the cards that we carry. And so priority number 1 ended up being advise DTSC on outreach to, advise DTSC on their outreach process, which how they're reaching out to communities, what process they're using, how they are messaging things, who they are designing that messaging for. That is what the intention of priority 1. Priority 2 was the Safer Consumer Products Program, and that one was to strengthen the understanding and participation in DTSC's SCP program. Priority 3 was collaboration with other EJACs. So we recognize that there's different EJACs working across the state, including the Department of Pesticide Regulation, as well as the California Air Resources Board. And so we thought that it'd be appropriate to collaborate with these entities so that we can see where our work overlaps and we can help each other to achieve protections for our communities. And that's what priority 3 was.
I also wanted to include that this is not set in stone. We can shift, just as Danielle mentioned, and also the community engagement component, which I call it the reverse engineer community engagement, that the community will lead in a lot of this making decision process, as well as real-time situations come across, that we will shift our priorities. So. And we talked also about how we will collaborate with other EJACs and strengthen our efforts in specific issues that is affecting a common cause all statewide. So with that being said, I also wanted to say that I was not part of the subcommittee for the work plan priorities. This was Co-Chair Miguel Alatorre, Ms. Council Ms. Stone, and also Nam, Council Member Nam, that were part of the work plan subcommittee. So I truly appreciate all the work and time that you put into this. I think we're in a great, starting point, basically. And I commend you for your time and for putting this together. And I also would like to be part in the future, of course, at whatever comes when the priorities will shift. Thank you.
All right, thank you. This is an opportunity for the council to have any further discussion about the work plan. So the floor is open.
Yeah, this is Co-Chair Miguel. I did want to shout out to Ms. Stone as she spearheaded the Safer Consumer Products. And I would maybe like to open the floor to Ms. Stone to guide us in maybe helping to further define what that work plan point could be. So go ahead, Ms. Stone.
Yes, I'm a little proud of my work as well as everybody else's work. What I'm concerned about is that there are a number of Superfund sites, and I don't know if you have the definition for it or not, but at the Superfund sites, we use all kinds of chemicals, PFAS, and everything else in our community, because that's why environmental justice was written in the first place, because the military knew that they could not take care of the properties and take care of their men and their families. And so that has been left out of the process to get help, really get good help for our community in dealing with the all of these PFASs and the ethyl chloride and the Superfund site is very, very necessary to have some good action and to realize why people are getting sick all the time and dying of cancers and everything else. If somebody was to come and look at our community and go to the hospitals and the places where people have been dying, they would be shocked. And I don't understand why this very important issue is not being addressed at all. It's not being addressed. And so I know the rest of those items are important, but why should we leave out a very, very important item such as the Superfund sites, which is why the environmental justice resolution was written in the first place. If somebody could explain that to me, I guess I would understand better, but at this point I don't.
Yeah. Other members, you want to share anything about the process? And I do recognize that, Magali, you said that there's going to be some flexibility in all of this in terms of which issues sort of take the stage. Was there any response to what Ms. Stone said? And then I'm also asking Ms. Stone if you want to, if in addition to the Superfund sites, if you could say something about the safer consumer products piece, because I know in past meetings that has been, I believe that's been a big concern of yours as well.
Yes, I was really, really glad to hear that because of we use those products, cosmetics and hair products and nails and all of that. It's really important to the public to get something done in that area. And I did attend a meeting where the US EPA decided that it's necessary that we look at the items that is being used that is hurting our health as well. When we buy these products, especially women with makeup and the fingernails and all that kind of stuff, they need to know how it's affecting their health. And I sent an article to somebody with DTSC about the comments that I made at the meeting concerning PFAS, concerning SCPs.
Cool. All right, thank you. Was there any other comments about the process that the work committee took from any of the other members before we get to public comment?
Yes, we basically agreed that these were the three priorities, but we're not set in stone, meaning that if something comes up that we need to address right away and that the community is being heavily burdened by a toxic or anything that we can do to address it and come as an EJAC and find a way to support, help, or find a solution. If to recommend BES, that's what we will do. So moving forward, this will be basic what it was discussed at the beginning as a draft for a work plan and what we approved, but that doesn't leave out other issues that are taking place, like for example, in my area in Wilmington, where we had a container burning, we had a fire at the Port of Los Angeles. So this is something that we might be able to address as something that it is priority. And this is it's already late basically addressing this, but this is something that we need to start doing and looking at things that we can discuss right away and find a solution. So to protect the communities from the toxics that are being managed.
Yeah. Yeah. Serlene, you had a comment or a question?
Yes, hi, I do. To the Chair, Miguel, and to the committee. I want to offer that as we give some shape to the work plan and bringing things. I've said this before, so I'll say it again, that maybe as we design our future meetings, we design a section that's maybe 10 minutes on some of these subjects that are very important to you. I've shared before that the Safer Consumer Products is working on their priority products list. And they do want to hear from community members about things that are contaminants, things that we use, like the lotions and the cosmetics and whatever, because they are looking at what to propose. We have talked about. I've shared with you in response to Council Member Stone, Superfund sites. We do have a program on Superfund sites. We can probably have someone come and give a 10-minute overview of what the Superfund sites are, so that you all can see globally how things work. Globally, like meaning like statewide how things work and what we want to take and bring into each community. The same with the air emissions and contaminants and how we might address that from fires or what have you, Magali, so that we can, I think if we do a bit of public education on each of these topics, it would help you all come out with action items or recommendations for DTSC. And I think my read on this is that all of this at some level falls under priority one, which is to advise DTSC on the outreach and assessment. So the role of the EJAC is to be an advisory council to DTSC and to the BES. And if these are the issues that you all are concerned about, then these are the issues that we should bring you, my opinion, that we should bring you information about so that you can advise us on the outreach and community involvement. Thank you for this time.
Okay, thanks, Serlene. Any other comments from or questions or observations from the EJAC members before we go to public comment?
I just have one more comment to make.
Yes, please.
As far as the burning, every year we have another burn. And if you're using Alumagel, which a lot of people don't know what it is, which is a derivative of napalm, to spray this stuff around a given area that's going to be burned. And it jumps the perimeter every time. And it not only jumps the perimeter, but it's a very dangerous substance. And we have had these burnings for a very long time. And we're due to have another big burn near the end of the year, about September or something like that. And nobody seems to be aware of what's burning or the munitions or the hand grenades or whatever it is that's being burned in these big, huge burns, acres of huge burns, mainly the city of Seaside, but smoke goes where it wants to go. And so this has been a big problem, and especially with me and my eyes running around trying to help the schools and daycare centers, and because they were not getting adequate information concerning these things. And we had to try to protect the people that didn't know what to do when they saw all of this stuff coming down or they're breathing it. So I think that burning, no matter where it is, if it's containing toxic substances you know about at the beginning, and we don't have a way to protect ourselves, what then?
Cool. Thank you for your comment, Ms. Stone. All right. Unless I hear other members of the EJAC, we're going to open this up for open the floor to public comment. Speakers will have 3 minutes to speak. Please state your name and affiliation if relevant. If you're on Zoom and wish to speak on this item, please raise your hand now. We have at least one speaker. In a moment, we'll open it up to her or them. We will start with Zoom speakers, and then we'll call for comments from the Spanish language dial-in line, and then we'll read public comments from the chat aloud. And we'll start with Janet Gunther.
Hello, my name is Janet Gunter, and I am with the San Pedro Peninsula Homeowners United. We were litigants in the lawsuit, CEQA lawsuit, California Environmental Quality Act suit back in 2003. We've won a couple other suits since about the environmental impacts from these projects that were undeclared. What I'm concerned about today is everyone knows about the Henry Hudson fire of the lithium batteries on board back in November, which went unnoticed, and we were not informed about sheltering in place for at least 6 hours while the thing emitted toxic fumes, including cyanide from the fires. There has been one death of a longshoreman now that's been attributed to being on the ship at some point, working in the vicinity there from exposure. There purportedly is another woman longshoreman that is also having severe problems. When I found out about this issue, I looked into it further, found out that the toxic remnants, which include toxic water from trying to put the fire out that had been stored in the hull and pumped out of the ship hull onto trucks, is in storage at a terminal there, along with a lot of the containers and the burned products from it, which are being transported to for hazardous disposal at Crosby and Overton in Long Beach. I requested the analytics for what those substances are. I let Magali Sanchez Hall know about it. We actually made a physical visit over towards the terminal. It reeks of this odor, yet the people working there are not in any PPE. They're not being protected. And it's, as you go out to the site, that's that pungent smell, which leaves you with a metal taste in your mouth, is also apparent in Long Beach. So what I'm looking for here from you guys is to find out an accounting to see what is still remaining. The vapors are still extending from the terminal and blowing into Wilmington. This is a significant health hazard in my view, and I'd like to know more about it and see if you guys can help or assist in getting the analysis results. Thank you.
Great. Before we go, thank you for that, Ms. Gunter. Before we go to the next public comment, is there anybody from staff or from the board, from EJAC, who can respond to the question that she
Yeah.
asked?
Yes.
I don't have a response, but I do have
Uh,
I
go
will
ahead.
have a want to learn more, and I was wondering if any of that information could be forwarded to us via email so that we can take a look and research more, because I I personally would definitely love to help where we could.
Okay. Ms. Stone, were you trying to raise your hand? Because it
Yes,
was
yes, I was.
okay.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
go
was.
ahead.
I
Yeah,
have
go
been,
ahead, and then
yeah,
Serlene Grant.
I
Go
have
ahead.
been working with that area. We're right down what you call down the street from what was happening. I was on a panel where we discussed it. I called the battery factory, which is in Illinois, and we had been working with them and getting information on how those fires would start. And they could even start at any time in the matter in which they start. We have all the information. And we have another lady who has COPD, who was living not too far from there, that died. And we have been trying to get legal help. Some people, I think, might have legal help, then others don't have legal help. And it is a very serious situation in a time that fires can start by themselves, especially those kinds of fires. It's a very, very bad situation that we have here. We have all of it. We have the batteries, we have the Fort Ord burns, we have everything.
All right. Thank you for that. Serlene?
Since you asked for a staff response, and I want to thank Magali for the heads up. Earlier this week, or last week, I did a query. I don't have a definite to the public comment person, Ms. Gunter. I don't have a definitive answer for you at this moment. When the fire happened aboard the ship, because of where it was located and so forth, we believe, it's our information, that the U.S. Coast Guard was the lead agency. And so I know from my own life experience, and as well as my professional experience, you get in this thing, but agencies all pointing different ways. So I will follow up on this and see to the speaker who says you can still sense the debris or the smell and whatnot in the air. I will follow up to see if any other aspects or any other part of Cal EPA is involved in this and in this response, and get something back either through a report out in our next meeting or through Magali. We'll try to get more information for you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
No,
And
it's just one more thing, that the Coast Guard was said to have been monitoring the air, but on the terminal, there is no evidence of that whatsoever. We weren't allowed on the terminal, but from outside the terminal where the air is, there were no monitors.
okay.
Okay, thank you.
And Ms. Gunter, I think also the invitation was made to you around sending any additional information you have about it to the EJAC. Vivian's Hume's email address is there, and I think that's probably one way to get that information
Okay,
to
great.
share it with the EJAC staff.
Thank you.
All right. Ms. Stone, are you because your thing is kind of clapping his hand. Are you raising your hand? Or are you clapping?
She's clapping.
Hi, I'm
Okay.
Tishu. Hi, I'm Brooke Ramirez. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Hi, I'm a student at Cal State Monterey Bay. Just to clarify that what Charlene was saying is that the update for the response with the Cal EPA would be coming in the next meeting. And where's the calendar for that one? Or when's the potential date for that one?
I think
We'll circle. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Serlene.
We're in March, April. It'll be at the end of April, first part of May, I think. I don't know if we set a date because we have to collaborate with everybody.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
you.
Mhm.
All right, we got the next public comment, and thank you for your patience, from Sherry Dr. Felton.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Hodge. I appreciate the opportunity. My name is Sherry Dr. Felton. I'm here. I live on the Monterey Peninsula. I was invited by Ms. Levon Stone. I thank her very much for being able to be here for the first time with the council. I wanted to share that while I may be ignorant of the actual work of the council, I am very much desirous of putting my efforts and connections to assist with the work of the council. My background, mainly math science, third year medical student, 50-year history as a nurse. I'm a biologist, also in finance, at working with the governments, especially in hospitals, as a consultant to keep them safe from various chemicals and use of chemicals. So I would love to be able to apply this background to the work that the council is already doing. I'm great at background research, connecting individuals, generating reports, whatever capacity. Please reach out to Ms. Levon Stone. And if I can legally and ethically apply my talents and skills, I would love to do that. And thank you for the time to introduce myself.
Oh, thank you for the offer to help. It's rare that we get offers to help. Thank you so much for that. All right. Any additional members of the public who want to address the EJAC today? All right. Is there any Spanish comment in the that needs to be interpreted? And then is there any from staff, is there any comments? Are there any comments in the chat? I
There
don't
were
think
no
I've been.
comments in the chat. We answered one of the questions in the Q&A box. So there are none on our end now. Thank you, Greg.
Great. All right. And then the EJAC info at dtsc.ca.gov is the place where you would, to Ms. Gunter, if she's still here, where you can send any additional information. That's in the chat. But EJAC info at dtsc.ca.gov.
Greg,
All right.
if you allow me, the question that was in the chat was, will this information be posted for the public? And it will be. Our meetings will be. So I just want everybody to know that the meeting will be posted on the EJAC website at a future date once we get the video all on board.
Okay. Well, we want to thank all the folks who attended to make public comments today. We want to close the public comment period for this item. And next, we want to have a review of action items from Denise Wan.
Hi, my name is Denise Wan, and I am serving as the lead note taker for this meeting. What I'm seeing so far, just working backwards, is Serlene will follow up on a public comment to see if EPA can help give a response to what had happened on the boat. And then there was a request from Ms. Levon Stone to add a definition for superfunds in the work plan. That is what I'm seeing so far in terms of action items.
Okay. Anything else anybody sees as an action item for today? Okay. Looks like next steps are the council's work plan subcommittee will meet on March 25th of this year. And I'm sure that there'll be a Zoom meeting invitation notice that'll go out for that. The EJAC is also planning an in-person retreat on April 30th. And the next public meeting, and this was the date we were looking for a little earlier, next public meeting is set for May 27th. And so to the council members, are these next meeting dates approved? You got 3 dates: work plan subcommittee on March 25th, EJAC in-person retreat on April 30th, and the next public meeting on May 27th. So the question is, are all those dates approved?
Oh. So there's 2 months.
Magali, please go ahead. And then I think Ms. Stone, you wanted to say something as well?
Yes, just a question.
I do. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Dunn and Greg. I do want to mention that I will be out of town, and I just had this happen this in the last 2 days. I'll be in DC on the 30th. My apologies. I'm actually traveling on that day.
The 30th of April?
April 30th?
Oh, no, sorry, March. Okay, I'm available on April 30th. Sorry.
Okay. Great.
Time is going too fast.
No worries.
So is my understanding that, okay, this is February, so we won't have another public meeting until March, April, May, until May, right?
That's the date you have now, yes.
So it'll be March, April, okay, May. What was the date again? May the what?
27th.
So that's 3 months before another public meeting. And I'll have to see about traveling to Southern California again. And like I said, we have the university here, law school. We have a number of places where we can meet here in Northern California. And I don't see any meetings in the near future that allowed us to have the EJAC come to our area.
So are you proposing some additional meeting dates, or what are you proposing?
Well, I'm proposing that we try to do something in this direction. We're talking about a whole lot of stuff, and we have traveled to the Southern California, which is what we usually always do, even before the EJAC. And I'm just really concerned that there's not a lot of concern in spreading this out in the state of California, rather than have 2 subsequent meetings in Southern California, like, well, we're not that important or something.
Go ahead, Magali.
Go ahead, Magali.
Oh, okay, thank you. I just wanted to know who makes the decision of the location, because I wouldn't mind going up there to visit Miss Levon.
I'll respond, but go ahead, Noam.
Go ahead, Nam.
Sorry, Greg.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, maybe in the future, like as a council, we can discuss like having more meetings in Northern California, because I also think it's not fair that like a lot of our meetings in person have been, or at least the ones we have had so far have been in SoCal.
Okay. Yeah, Serlene?
So to the question of who makes, I guess I will say it's been a collaborative discussion among EJ staff when we look at where we can meet. Like we look at what facilities are available for us to meet at, what state facilities are available for us where we can meet, where each of you live in relationship to getting people back and forth to a meeting location. And so it tends, Ms. Stone is correct. It tends to fall in Southern California or Sacramento, Northern California. Ms. Stone and I have talked, and I know that she wants us to have something, what do you call that? Coastal, mid-coast area of the state. I've promised her, and I'm promising all of you, we will look at it. She has suggested to me that there are a number of other public facilities that are not necessarily state facilities, but that are public facilities that we might be able to use. We haven't researched those, but we are open to researching them and seeing what the possibility is. So it's not a hard no. It's just working with the time and the resources we have. And the known resources that we have are DTSC facilities, of which there are 3 in the Southern California area, 1 in the Bay Area, and 1 in Sacramento. So that's how we've kind of defaulted.
None here. Huh. Okay.
Charlene, you're forgetting the small office you guys have in Clovis. No, I'm only joking, but in all seriousness, I raised my hand because I wanted to say it would be nice to have in-person gatherings physically and have them more often. And I know Ms. Stone mentioned the coastal region, but I think another underserved region, as we all know, is the Central Valley. It's usually Northern California or Southern California that has the spotlight, but the Central Valley has a lot of positives and a lot of negatives and a lot of DTSC facilities under its jurisdiction. And so having us in consideration would be great in the future, as well as also considering the Central Coast and all the regions. And maybe we can shuffle through it by year, because I know that resources are limited and spread thin. So I just wanted to throw that as a potential.
Thank you.
Cool.
There was another point, I'm sorry, that I was also going to raise my hand to speak about. There were 2, I'm sorry. I spaced on what that other point was.
Okay, I'm sure it will come.
I remember.
There you go.
Not that long of a moment. Okay, I remember. When we're talking about the next work plan subcommittee meeting, I'd like some staff guide. I'd like some guidance from the EJAC for staff on this. We've prioritized what the 3 major areas are. I had suggested earlier that we might have someone from SCP come and talk for about 10 minutes. I had suggested for the public meeting, but in order to get to that public meeting, the work plan committee probably needs to do a little work to figure out where they want to go next. So I'm wondering if you want to have somebody from SCP come and talk about what they're trying to do. And if you want someone to come and talk about our Superfund program at those sites, at that meeting, at the next work plan subcommittee meeting, so that you can figure out a direction to take on some of these items.
Okay. Anything else before we hear some administrative updates from Serlene?
Well, but that was my question. I didn't get any yay, no, good idea. Oh, Serlene, no, we want to talk about something else.
Yes.
Ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
All right.
Ma'am, I'm sorry. Ma'am, you had something?
Yeah.
And Miguel?
Yeah, I just raised my hand to concur with my fellow EJAC members and say that specifically for me, safer consumer products would be really great to know more about, as it's something I'm not too familiar with. So definitely love to learn more.
All right. Okay, thank you.
I would like Superfund. Yes.
All right, thank you. Okay.
And can I say something? I don't know how the toxic waste management locations work. I'm not familiar. I just seen them, but I don't know how they work. And when I was doing a small investigation with Miss Janet, I ended up seeing how, they are from outside, but I'm not sure. Do they work as private contractors for you? I would like to know more about that. I don't know if that can be. Miguel, you have a lot of information about that probably too.
I definitely don't have too much, but what I can say is the hazardous waste side of things is really complicated, and if you need a briefing, I think it would be a good idea to have a both high level and community oriented overview of hazardous waste in the future. And I'd be happy to do the community one offline with you. Any other EJAC member that would like to learn about the hazardous waste issues within Kettleman City, we can check offline about that separately and have a conversation. And of course, I would love to host any of you guys physically here in Kettleman City or Buttonwillow, where we have the state's hazardous waste facilities.
I think it's not only, I'm sorry, I think it's not only that, it's how these private contractors who operate these things, and the majority of them, as far as I know, all of them are operated by private contractors. Please correct me if I'm wrong. How new contractors come in, because we talk about Kettleman, but then next to Kettleman is the city of Avenal, and at a waste management site there, they have over the years continued to push new levels of hazardous materials that they can put into their landfill, which was originally just a local city landfill that only took safe stuff. And by the time the residents hear about it, it's already a done deal. So understanding the process from the beginning and how that is communicated to residents would be, I did a lot of work on that, but I never understood what were they supposed to have done to let the community know this was even going to happen, and how they could engage. And by the time we got into it, it was 4 years too late, literally, but they still hadn't gotten the permit. And so it was too late to stop it, though, because it was already approved. And, that's really frustrating. So anything we can do to create tools for folks that are community friendly, or at least advise on that, I think would be really critical. And then, again, what Levon and Miguel have said are critical areas as well.
Yeah, because we have landfills here on Fort Ord that nobody seems to know about, and they claim, okay, they dug up one, moved it over to the other side of the street, covered it up with stuff, nothing in the bottom of the landfill. The toxins are leaking into the groundwater for the city of Marina from that big landfill. We got more than one. The thing about it is nobody outside of the people, the veterans or the families or whatever seem to know about it. We receive all of the documents about these so-called cleanups, and who's involved in looking at what is really happening, or are they really fixing the problem or just making it worse? So we've had these landfills forever. This base has been around for a very long time, and we've had these landfills forever, and we don't see the concern about what is happening with our drinking water and where this stuff is going. We got, like I said, and I'm not lying about this stuff, we have everything. And I'm telling the truth. And I'm not saying it's more important than anything else in the state of California. I'm just saying I don't see as much attention to these things as I see in some other places.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you, Ms. Stone. Yeah, Magali?
What I'm hearing from everyone, and also from Charlene, is that we can have people from the department to come and present how they function, the work they do, so we can be more knowledgeable about the process, right?
Yes. And so then, okay, I'm going to take a very, we just went through, the DTSC, a very elaborate hazardous waste management plan process where the staff wrote up the plan, how different levels of trash is handled in different kinds of landfill. That's a very simplistic way of me explaining it. and it was reviewed by the Board of Environmental Safety and so forth and so on. And yet I'm hearing questions from you all, the EJAC, on how is hazardous waste handled in California. And I'm just going to say, in different ways, all of you all are plugged in. So this shows me that maybe a recommendation is some kind of public education concern on how hazardous waste is handled or something. I don't know. I'm kind of talking out loud and probably making more work for myself. But because to your original question, Magali, how is toxic waste managed? There's many levels, as Miguel alluded to. There are many levels of handling hazardous waste. Kettleman City, the facility, the dump, if you will, the facility in Kettleman City and the facility in Buttonwillow are classified as particular levels of hazardous waste containment facilities to handle some of the more serious levels, if you will, of hazardous waste. And then somebody like your local municipal landfill is allowed to handle a different kind of hazardous waste. And so all of that goes into the bigger picture of storing what we use and storing what we use up and discard throughout the state of California. There are different facilities, landfills, disposal sites throughout the state that handle different levels of waste. So we should have someone to come and give an overview. But and you can go on our website and look up information about the hazardous waste management plan, and it'll help shed some light into this.
Yeah,
Greg,
Kevin?
you raised no. Okay, great.
Yeah, so I hear you, and I understand that from the state level, it's a very transparent process. Anybody can participate, anybody can contribute. The problem is in communities, especially the communities where folks are working 1, 2 jobs, have housing issues, have, just trying to pay their bills every day. How do we make sure they know that this is coming to their town? Because that's what even local politics fails at communicating. They'll send a letter around, and people get a letter from the city, they don't even want to look at that thing because it's just probably another bill from the city or
Yeah.
something that comes to them that they don't understand anyway. So how do we change that paradigm that it meets the standard? I mean, another part of the standard has to be published in a local newspaper or other kind of circular. Well, they don't exist anymore. And if they do, they're too expensive for most people to pay for. I mean, if I wanted to have the Fresno Bee here at my house, I'd have to pay them close to $400 a month to have a newspaper at my house. So so few people signed up, they changed it to 2 days a week, basically. And I still don't buy it. It's just too expensive. So I think, how do we communicate? How do we make sure those communications are provided in ways that are understandable and meaningful for as many people as possible? I know that's been worked on forever. I'm not saying we can solve it, but it is. And in those confined areas, like areas where we have folks with small businesses affected by this, as Miguel mentioned, I think we can have an impact there because they will be reading paperwork. They will have to know what's going on. But with landfills, I think this is a very difficult issue, and because it is people don't understand. I think the health impacts are important to know, but it's the process that beats you to death, and that it's hard to stay with because it takes so long, and that people don't know. I mean, if you send them a notice that this meeting is happening at the city hall on Friday, this date, I think people have a hard time, taking time out to even go to those kinds of things. So we found that on the ground community neighborhood work is the best way to get communications out there. And so that's the bottom line. I've never seen anything better. I've done a lot of surveys in the clinics that I worked in and then was lucky enough to run health centers. And I would always say, how did you hear about it? So we do commercials, we did things at movie theaters, all this. And you know what people said? My auntie, my sister, my whatever, my neighbor said it was a great thing. That's how people hear things in neighborhoods. So how do we get into that network? We've been successful in a lot of areas, but not in this one. So here's a new opportunity for that. But by the way, it's going to cost money as well. So how DTSC manages its budget to make sure that those kinds of resources are available, that's going to be something we're going to look at it as well. Okay, I think that's something we have to talk about and has to be looked at. Over at Carbside, they created AB 617. It's been really successful in the area of air pollution and getting things out into neighborhoods and having neighborhood councils. So maybe leveraging that can be, we know it has to be grown, but where it has been successful, we've seen it in local communities. What we've said is now we need more communities because there's not enough of them being funded to do this, because in those areas it can be successful, at least here in the Valley. But I don't see anything like that ever happening from this agency. And I'm not blaming you guys, by the way. This is more higher level than that.
Yeah.
Having the funding put in the budget to do this kind of on the ground work in neighborhoods. That's
Cool.
what we need to see. And there's
All
politics that are going to come into that, we know, but we have to at least frame the whole thing and get it to them and push them.
All right.
Sorry,
Kevin, thank
Magali.
you. Thank you for
Went on a
that.
little bit.
Magali?
Making up for not being.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Kevin. I just want a disclaimer. I was part of the original and I'm still part of the AB 617 from the initiation, and it has not worked. Not in Wilmington, West Carson, and Long Beach. It has, Carson, Long Beach, West Long Beach, and Wilmington, which was one of the first original ones. Never worked, has not worked, and we're still seeing the same thing. Nothing has changed because it was the structure was to impose whatever decision was already made from the top to the bottom. That's why it's so important for us to go out to the community and let the community lead in what is the real issues that are happening in the communities. Because what we have already, in place, it's not working, obviously. So the ones that have the solution and the knowledge of what's happening, and they probably know what to do because they've been doing it to survive, is the communities that are heavily burdened with all this.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Thank you both for that. Any last comment before we hear from Serlene with some administrative updates? Okay. Serlene.
Okay. With all the news y'all really, really want to hear that. Again, a reminder to check the DTSC emails. Use your government computer, as someone called it today, for all your EJ business. We're going to be routing it through DTSC. And the reason we're really emphasizing this is when we don't, as many of you experience, your DTSC accounts go down, and then people outside of your immediate circle who know that you won't be able to communicate with you, some of the public that are on this call, for instance. And it also spreads down to then it makes our IT department have to spend time to re-up. It makes it affects about 4 different departments. So we are strongly encouraging, without exception for the most part, everybody to use their DTSC emails. And then the annual Form 700 forms, the forms that look at where you might or may not, well, the forms that ask you to report different things, so like where you live and so forth, so that we can be in compliance with the Fair Political Practices Commission and requirements. And so those forms are due annually, and your form is due by the end of March. So we're going to ask everybody to please do that. And you should do it from your DTSC email because it's triggered to then go back to the FPPC. So it makes it a step easier for you because it goes back to where it needs to go and you don't have to try to figure out sending it and all of that. Our travel expense claims, what we call the TECs, are ready for many of you to sign for December and January. They'll be in your inbox soon. And thank you. All of you have done your you've all done your November TECs and they're being processed. So this will help you get reimbursed or compensated for your expenses. And then likewise, we want to ask you to finish all your training. And kudos to Kevin Hamilton for completing all of his. And then again,
completed mine.
Kudos to Ms. Stone for completing all of hers.
Always forget me. Why is that?
My apologies for not having the pom-pom ready for you, Ms. Stone.
You forgot to say Miss Stone first. That's why.
Yeah.
So
that's right.
So also, I know Ms. Stone is still considering coming to the retreat on April 30th. But Christy Spotsville, who many of you have gotten the information from, will be reaching out, or she hasn't already, to get your travel forms. And we're asking you to please respond to her timely in that so we can get you all settled for the in-person meeting on April 30th. And I believe that's all I have, unless staff reminds me of something else. I'm looking at my text things from them. I don't see any. So I think we are good.
All right. Anything else for the good of the order, as they say? Before we adjourn, I'm going to give you back 45 minutes of your evening.
Well, if somebody traveled up there again to Southern California, would you have sweet potato pies?
Do we have a vendor in Southern California that we know makes screaming sweet potato pies?
I don't know. Somebody ought to have.
I'm sure there is a place we can get you a sweet potato pie and some coffee, Miss Stone. We'll get it for everybody.
As long as we keep the tacos in, that's fine with me.
Oh, see there?
Okay, so we're gonna have a taco truck pull up. It's gonna be new. We're gonna start a new trend: taco trucks that have sweet potato pie.
I did not start this stuff. Don't blame me.
All right. If there's nothing else, I just want to take a small point of personal privilege. This is the last meeting that I've been hired to facilitate, and it has been great getting to get an insight into the work that you all are doing all over the state to keep us healthy. I really appreciate the little bit of learning a lot of learning I got from it, and I'm hoping that if there's some point in the future where something's going on here in Oakland, I can call you all. Miss Margaret Gordon is one of my friends.
Oh, yes.
She is a pioneer in the environmental justice movement.
Yes.
I'm sure Miss Stone and other people know her. I live in West Oakland, so she's one of my West Oakland neighbors and heroes. And I was in South Africa a few years ago, and I was in Durban, where there's a oil refinery that's causing a whole bunch of health issues, and they have the monitors, check the air quality, and literally after a day or so there, your lungs are burning. It was just bad. And so I was talking to one of the people who was there and told him that I was from Oakland, California, from near Richmond, and he immediately said, "Well, do you know Miss Margaret Gordon?" So Margaret's name is all over the world.
That's great. Miss Margaret knows everybody. Look out.
As it should be.
So everybody. And there's a book that I just finished with. It's called Pacific Circuit. It's the history of the Port of Oakland and mechanized. And Margaret is a big part of the story that's told in that book. Alexis Madrigal, who is with KQED radio, wrote the book. But anyway, just want to say it's been great. And thank you.
Wow.
And you all have a great evening, the rest of it. And we'll talk to you soon.
Wow.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you, Greg.
A lot of
Welcome.
surprises.
Thank you
Okay.
to the members of the public that join us.